in the game tonight.
Doesn't matter. That was one game. It's way better.
This is a baller.
Are we done?
No, we're actually having a full-on debate now.
Or is this the case? No.
Okay, Jake. Go, Jake. Go ahead.
Let's proceed. Kings Red Wings tonight. Game was tied at 1. Kings scored a goal on a power play with a little under 3 minutes to go to take a 2-1 lead. After a penalty, of course, Red Wings won on a power play for the final 1 minute 49 seconds of the game. With 22 seconds left, oh, come on. I do not remember his name, but I know who blocked the shot. It was like
Stahl?
No, yes, Stahl was the one who blocked it. I'm trying to remember who. Cromwell. Cromwell was the one who shot it. So he sends it at Quick. By the way, they've got an empty net at this point, so technically it's a 6-on-4 right now. They send it at Quick. Stoll gets a stick either way. It hits off his stick, flies into the air, 15 feet up to the wall, hits the net. It's out of play, right? Well, it's so high up that the referees didn't see it. It falls out of the sky, off of Jonathan Quick's back, and into the net for a goal. After the referees talked about it with each other, they did not see the puck, and they reviewed that, yeah, this was a goal. And this is a non-reviewable play because no one blew a whistle. So, because of this, 2-2, they would go to overtime, no one would score. Shootout, the Kings would win on a the Red Wings would win on a Tartar goal. 1-0 in the shootout, final score 3-2, 2 points for the Red Wings,
Guys,
1 for
I gotta say,
the
Tartar
Kings.
is a really good raw player.
Was that a pun?
Nothing for the food fun.
I'm not a Tartar person.
You're not an anything, Jake. Person, Jake.
That's not what this is about. This is about
Let's calm it
the
down, guys.
unjust result of what happened in Joe Louis Arena tonight between the Kings and the Red Wings. And this brings up a question throughout all of sports. Should everything be reviewable? Because things like in the NFL, you know, if you kick a field goal, that's something that's not reviewable. Penalties, not reviewable. There are certain things that are not reviewable that just need to be. It makes no sense that why you can't have everything be allowed to be reviewed.
All right.
What do you guys think about this one?
Jake, I want to go first here.
Yes.
All right, here's what I'm going to say. The things that should not be reviewed, everything should be reviewable. Okay, here's what I want to look at. Everything should be reviewable, but judgment calls. Not like if it's like this person got there, but like pass interference. There's not there's shaky lines. Penalties should not be reviewable. They should start instituting. I like the coach's challenge system. No matter where, and scoring plays need to always be reviewed.
They already are.
Yeah, I know. Not in the NHL.
Jake.
Not in the NHL. Scoring plays are not automatically reviewed.
No, in the NFL.
Guys, first of all, there is already enough stoppage in play. Have you seen the chart of the average NFL TV broadcast? There are 63 minutes of commercials, 11 minutes of game action. First of all, the time that a game takes will be expanded greatly. Second of all, in the NFL, they already have a guy up in the booth telling them whether or not they should review something.
Yeah, so the NFL reviews enough plays.
No, because they can't review. No. Oh, God, don't tell me it's going to take longer. You want to see what is supposed to happen. You want what is fair. Not because judgment's called, because it's perfect for the game. You want to see what needs. There are rules. Those rules should be followed at all costs, whether or not it takes a couple extra minutes or so.
Are you ready for a 6-hour game? Are you ready for a 6-hour game where you barely get to see any game action? Are you ready for football to be called the slowest sport behind golf?
Ladies and gentlemen, let's go. Let's go, guys. It's official. If you want to review one pass interference call in a game where it is a crucial turning point, it will double the length of the game. Americans who scientifically actually have a shorter attention span than a goldfish, and this is true, there are studies behind this, will no longer want to watch the game because they have to wait longer.
You ever seen a goldfish? I've had staring contests with goldfish. I always lose.
Jake, then you do too.
Yes.
How do we know your attention span to actual details is not playing into effect here, and you're not making a good judgment call based on that?
But judgment calls can't be reviewed.
Judgment calls cannot be reviewed, Jake. We cannot review this case. Your judgment is not good.
I have a question for you both. If there are rules, should they be followed? I want a yes or no answer. Yes or no?
They should be followed.
No, I was yes or no.
It's like, this is like saying that we should have cameras on every single thing in life so police can tell if somebody jaywalked.
Are you crazy? That has zero implication with this whatsoever. You're talking about a violation of privacy and comparing it to a few extra minutes of commercials? Are you comparing Fourth Amendment rights to a few extra minutes of Bud Light and Stevie Wonder?
Jake,
yes.
You're mixing me and those points. They're different. I don't think penalties should be reviewed only because they're judgment calls, and therefore a booth person is not going to be able to. I mean, the booth person's judgment is going to be different. You see it when announcers and multiple referees even disagree. You can't say judgment calls. It's like how the infield fly rule is not reviewable because there's no exact definition.
Correct. Well,
there's
we need
reasons that certain things should not be reviewable.
Okay. Well, then there are two solutions. There are two solutions
because they're scoring play.
There are two. You have two solutions for this. One, make the rules definite. If a player does blank, it's pass interference. That's one. Two, do it like every other review. You need indisputable evidence. If somebody grabs on to the receiver's arm and there was nothing called, and they want to review it, and it's clear that there was no way they could have caught it, and they were clearly interfered with, it should be overturned, even if that is a judgment call, because you do what you can do to make sure fairness is being delivered in a game, and this doesn't diminish the game. If anything, it adds more integrity to the sport, which is that we have rules. We are following them. And again, it would have to be indisputable. If you can't tell, then it should default to the ruling on the field stance.
Look, Jake, either way, there are going to be mistakes made. There are going to be mistakes.
Yes.
Because that is life. We are human. So you cannot erase all of it. The integrity of the game will never be perfect. There are hundreds of thousands of calls that have changed games in the past. And you know what? It happens every team.
Yes, it does.
And to some teams, it happens to teams in worse spots, unfortunately. But that is life. That is the game. There are parts of the game you cannot take away. And
hey, actually,
you cannot take away. You cannot make the game better. You cannot enforce the rules because that's life.
Well, you can enforce the rules. You can't enforce the rules, of course. You can enforce the rules. But there are points in the game where you cannot just stop it. Second of all, that takes away the flow of the game. Especially games like basketball.
No, you're right. They review too many plays in the NBA. They review too many plays in the NBA. But no. In the NBA, it's completely different. Trust me. They review way too many plays in the NBA, and that ruins the flow. But in the NFL, unless you're talking about a no-huddle, and even still, if this is going to have a complete momentum shift on the game, should we not review it? Should we not make sure that if there are rules, they are being enforced? Instead, we say, that's life, and then sing Kumbaya and hold hands around a fireplace, because that's life, and that's what it's about, and hey, it's gonna happen, it's all gonna be okay. No! With the technology we have today, without ruining the integrity of the game, by upholding the integrity of the game, on certain pivotal plays of games, if there is a way to indisputably say that there was a wrong call made in the field, it should be overturned. I don't see how this is any different than fumble calls. There's no difference. There are rules, and what we do is make sure that those rules are being followed and enforced on the field. Carl?
Alright, hey, Jake, I want to bring up another debate that spurs off of this. Playoffs. Do you believe that they should be able to, quote-unquote, play on? You know, that they should let it play out, or do you think the rules should be enforced the exact same way? This is especially big.
That is 100%
Super Bowl last year, this was a huge thing, and also in hockey, the playoffs often very little is called. Do you think that they shouldn't call things in the playoffs?
Here's what I'm going to say.
Carl, you're
in every single game, the rules should not change based on the circumstances. There are rules and they should be followed and should not be changed or bent.
Jake, you're going to be such a great driver.
Jake, you're a purist. Jake,
A purist? You're the purist.
No,
you're the one
purist.
talking about ruining the flow of the game
There should be
and
still
its
a
life, and you don't want to ruin it because it'll be slower. You're the purist.
What I was going to say, before you interrupted me, I was going to say, a purist, but like a twist on it. You're a purist for the fact that nothing should change.
I'm asking for change.
It should always be the same.
That's completely wrong. I'm asking for change.
You just want it to change. You want it to change to that. But then you want it to maintain itself perfectly in line for every single scenario. Well, I'm sorry, sir. If that's what you want, you are out of luck. Because it will never happen like that. Because the games are rougher.
Guys, no. I'm not asking for perfection.
If you stop them, tempers.
Jake, you're out of luck more than Indianapolis if Andrew gets hurt.
No.
Carolina versus the 49ers.
Guys,
if you
I am not
because it's a rule.
asking
You know what would happen? That game would be insane. There would be a lot more hits. The more you try to contain that, if you don't let a little bit of it boil over, I'm sorry, it's not going to work. A lot of pent-up anger does not end up well.
I am not asking for perfection. That cannot be achieved. However, if there was a way we can get closer to perfection, then I say let's do it. If it doesn't change the integrity of the game. Right? This isn't fair for the NFL refs to take a beating out there. It's not easy to do what they do. You think you could go out there and be Clete Blakeman? He's a terrible ref sometimes, but he is still a good referee because it's so difficult to do. It's unfair to the referees to put all the power in their hands because they're going to make wrong calls. They're going to have to take the blame.
Are you asking for an NFL or for an NFL where there is no on-field referees and they just kind of like do everything through, like penalty calls are all in the booth? No.
Here, let me tell you, if they could have robot referees that in some perfect way could scan everything, that would be heaven. Because then the game could be played the way it was intended, a rule book is written, and the rule book would be followed.
Perfection is impossible. Perfection.
I know, but I'm saying if we could achieve perfection, would that not... If we could perceive for perfection, you're telling me you would not want it. No bad calls. Think, no bad calls.
Even a perfect game is not perfect.
Correct.
Even a perfect game is not perfect. There are mistakes in a perfect
game. Have balls.
Exactly. Nothing is perfect. I'm sorry. If there was a way, wow, would we love it? But there isn't.
Okay. But you're
sorry.
saying why shouldn't we try and get closer to there? If we can make the game better, we can enforce the rules more. Guys,
send the NFL proposal. Send it to us.
It's time to move on with this debate because it has gotten too philosophical, and this is still a sports show, but another lively debate. And I propose one last thing. Start on the biggest impact of the game, at least in the NHL and the NFL. Pass interference. If it's a big pass interference,
pass interference is never.
If it's questionable, that's what you can review. That's all.
Pass interference should not be reviewed. Pass interference is not.
Okay.
Nah.
Agree to disagree.
Pass interference. Rules in the NHL.
Okay, not agree to disagree.
They should have the Jim Harbaugh ref that follows Jim Harbaugh carefully.
Or we could just bring back Mike Singletary, who just takes out all his anger on Vernon Davis. That's what it was. If Jim Harbaugh directed all his anger
Tiger Woods from when he was really good, or no, all the coaches, just everybody be Tiger Woods from when he was really good. So whenever they get angry, they just grab a golf club and swing it down.
Or drive their Cadillac Escalade into a tree. Do you know that Tiger Woods can drive a golf ball further than he can drive a Cadillac Escalade?
Tiger Woods when he was really good, which means he has to swing the golf club.
Well, you better hope Yang doesn't show up.
Jake, can you imagine Joe Buck for the game, or Troy Aikman, or whatever? As you can see on the sideline, they have added a new feature to drive your Cadillac into a tree. Ooh, phenomenal. What a great idea.
What great product placement, though. Like, seriously.
He's strong.
Sponsored by...
No.
Sponsored by Allstate. If you crash your Cadillac into a tree, we'll cover you.
We can avoid mayhem, like me, and there's a reason we try and avoid mayhem. Because it makes a better society for everyone, and it moves one step closer to perfection. Moving on. Flames, Canucks. mayhem, speaking of which, went down in Canada. Everyone's supposed to be nice there.